You run meetings, you manage teams, you have built things from nothing with your own hands and your mind, and yet you're undone by a text message that hasn't arrived. That's not weakness, that's not stupidity, and it's not you being too much or too emotional. That is a woman whose extraordinary capacity has been misdirected and whose nervous system has never been taught what safe love actually feels like. And today, I'm going to tell you the real reason why this keeps happening. Not the surface reason, not the you just need to love yourself more reason, the actual root. Because you deserve an explanation that matches your level of intelligence. There is a specific kind of pain that lives inside of high achieving women, and it doesn't have a name in most conversations, but I've seen it consistently in the women that I work with. And it's the pain of being exceptionally powerful in every area of your life, except for in love. You negotiate contracts, you lead with clarity, you make difficult decisions on a daily basis without flinching. And then one man, one inconsistent, emotionally unavailable man can destabilize everything. And the most confusing part is you already know something is wrong. You see the pattern. You can articulate it perfectly to your friends. You've probably journaled about it or even processed it in therapy. And you vowed more than once that this was the last time. And then it happened again. And here is what I want you to understand: knowing the pattern intellectually and being free from it are two completely separate things. Your mind can identify the problem clearly, but your body is still running on an older program. And until that program changes at the level of your nervous system, your emotional blueprint, your energetic blueprint, your attraction patterns will keep making your choices that your mind disagrees with. So, what's actually driving this? One of the deepest roots I see in successful women is something that I want to name very directly: hyperindependence. And I need you to hear this very carefully because hyperindependence doesn't look like what most people think that it does. It doesn't look like struggle. It doesn't look like being closed off. It doesn't look like there's anything actually wrong. It looks like having everything handled. It looks like giving others grace under pressure, but being hard on yourself. It looks like never needing anything from anyone. It looks like, forget it, I'll do it myself. But beneath that self sufficiency is a very old wound. And that wound says that if you need people, you'll be disappointed. That wound says that if you show softness, you'll be taken advantage of. And the wound says that the only person you can rely on is yourself. So you became extraordinary at doing it all alone, which has served you beautifully in your career. But in love, hyper independence is not a superpower, it's a wall. And emotionally unavailable men are uniquely comfortable with that wall. They don't require your vulnerability, they don't push for emotional depth, they don't ask you to need them, which on the surface can feel like a respect for your strength or your autonomy. But what it actually is two people who have agreed unconsciously never to go too deep. And you end up in a dynamic that looks like a relationship on the outside, but feels very hollow from the inside. And there's something else happening that I want to name. I'll call it the competence curse. The competence curse is this: when you are exceptional at solving problems, your instinct in every situation is to apply that competence. At work, that's exactly right. Problems exist to be solved, gaps exist to be filled, potential exists to be developed. But you have been bringing that same energy into your relationships. So when an emotionally unavailable man shows up, when the ghost starts fading, when the future faker stops following through, you don't walk away. You strategize. You think, what if I communicate differently? What if I give him some more space? What if I'm more patient? What if I show him what this could be? You apply your greatest professional strengths to a problem that cannot be solved in that way because emotional availability is not a gap that you can fill for someone else. It's not a potential that you can develop in another person. And it's not a project with a timeline and a strategy. And every time you try, every time you pour your intelligence, your patience, your emotional labor into an unavailable man, you are depleting yourself for a return that will never come. You're not failing at love, you're just applying the wrong tool to the right desire. And now I want to go even deeper because underneath the hyper independence and the competence curse, there is an identity conflict that most successful women are carrying quietly. And it sounds like this: I'm too much. Men are intimidated by me. I don't know how to be soft. If I let go of control, everything will fall apart. Nice men are boring. I don't know why, but they just are. And these aren't personality flaws. These are beliefs that were built by early experiences, by what love looked like around you, by what you had to become to survive and to succeed. And here's the conflict: the woman who runs the boardroom and the woman who wants to be held, they're the same woman. She is you, but you have not given yourself permission to be both. So the high achieving, capable, composed version of you stays in control. And the part of you that wants depth, devotion, emotional safety gets drawn towards men who create enough chaos to make you feel something. Because chaos is the only context in which you have learned to feel alive in love. Not because you love chaos, because peace has never felt safe enough to trust. And this is the root: not your standards, not your personality, not good men don't exist. The root is that somewhere along the way, you learned that love was something that you had to earn, that you had to manage, that you had to hold together. And your entire system has been operating from that blueprint ever since. And I want to be honest with you about what changing this really requires. It's not a mindset shift. It's not a new affirmation. It's not deciding to be more open. The shift happens when your nervous system, your body, actually learns that it's safe to receive, safe to be soft without being taken advantage of, safe to need without being abandoned, safe to stop performing and simply be and still be chosen. That is a somatic shift, an energetic shift, a deep cellular level reprogramming of what you're allowed to feel like in your body. And when that happens, the emotionally unavailable men stop feeling magnetic, not because you decided they weren't worth it, but because your body is no longer fluid in that frequency. You become available to a different type of love entirely: calm, consistent, reciprocal, present, not boring, safe. And for the first time, safe starts feeling like what you actually want. If this landed somewhere real in you today, if you recognize the competence curse, if you felt the weight of the identity conflict that I described, if some part of you quietly thought, this is exactly what I've been doing, I want you to know that recognition is just the beginning. It means that the pattern is no longer invisible. And what you can see, you can finally change. The next step that I want to offer you is the Align Love Masterclass. You can join me live Friday, April 17th at 6:30 Eastern. Inside of the masterclass, we're going to go deeper into the nervous system patterns behind all of what I talked about. The six unavailable archetypes and how each one targets a different wound, and the foundational shifts that begin to move you out of the cycle and heal the root. The link is in the description below. And don't worry, if you see this after April, the replay will be available at that same link. And if you haven't taken the unavailable archetype quiz, that's there for you also. The quiz will show you specifically which pattern has been showing up in your relationships and will give you a clear picture of what you've been working with. And also, I'd like to invite you to my email list, the Radiant Love Letters, where I send monthly insights into topics like these that we discuss here on the YouTube channel. All of these links and things can be found in the video description or at my link in bio. This work is not about becoming someone different. It is about returning to who you were before love taught you to make yourself small.